Good morning. I have come on today to make a pocket journal using 12 by 12 paper or cardstock. This is cardstock. This is not my original idea. I'm going to change it just a little bit. Lyric Lover 810, and I will give you a link to her video down below. That's where I got the idea from. She uses double-sided decorated paper, and that's not going to work for the journal I particularly need today. So I'm going to use this cardstock pad. It says paper pad. It's one of the not expensive ones from Michael's. I did check to make sure that bending it didn't crack it. Sometimes these cheaper paper pads, the cardstock will crack, and I did not want that happening. I am going to add lots and lots of pockets to this journal because I am going to do this in a travel theme. So this particular paper pad had 6 sheets of the blue color I wanted, and I'm going to use 4 of them to build the journal. I wanted to save a couple of sheets out to do tags and other little things that I want to do, notebooks and stuff. I need lots and lots of pockets, so I am going to do this a little different than the original video I saw. This is the blue cardstock that I'm going to be using. It actually has a slight embossed kind of pattern in it. It doesn't matter to me because I'm going to cover most of it up. This is a travel journal. I want to note different places we go and things like that. So I have several atlases. This is just one, and I'm going to be using some pages from this particular one this morning to decorate the inside pages or pockets. I also have a piece of, this is wallpaper. Duh, I'm sorry. This is out of a sample book, so it's just a piece, and I already cut a chunk of it off to make it more manageable on the table. It's not cut to size yet, but since I'm going to be working on top of it, I did cut it to size. By the way, this video is probably going to take more than one portion, more than one part, so it'll probably be a series. Let's do the first thing in creating one of the pages, and I'm going to make 4 pages total. I am going to use my scoreboard, and I have more than one scoreboard because the first one I bought myself I did not like at all. To me it was backwards, so this one I like it a lot better. I am looking for the grain in this. There is sort of a design that's kind of on the grain. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 12 by 12 sheet of paper. I'm trying to get you all the way in. And I'm going to score it at 6 inches. Okay? And then I'm going to flip the paper sideways. So here's my 6-inch score. And now I'm going to score it at 9 inches. That's going to give me a 3-inch pocket. And I would have done that 4 times. I actually have some already prepared. So I'm going to fold this up like so. And I'm going to give it a nice crease. And actually I wanted to fold it the other way. Sorry guys. Like I said, there is a pattern on there. Okay. Then I'm going to fold it in half along the 6-inch line. And you do want to use your bone folder and get these folds nice and neat. Oh, that one did not fold nicely. We're going to readjust it. This is because I was talking and not paying attention, I'm guessing. It will be fine. Alrighty, now because I want all of my corners rounded, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Your corner rounder, it's not designed to do multiple layers of cardstock. So if you're going to do something like this, go ahead and round your corners as you go. Okay, that's good. Now then, we have our map page. And like I said, if you were using cardstock that was decorated already, you wouldn't need to do this part. And I'm just going to trim off this spiral piece. I really like these spiral things. And I did choose maps that were horizontal, states that ended up on the page horizontally, just because I'm going to go across 2 pages. And to make this look kind of nice in here, I am going to round these top corners. It just kind of gave it a little more. Okay, I'm going to set this aside. And you want to have an old catalog or something ready because we're going to do some gluing. And it's always nice to have that ready to get your glue stick on. Now I'm going to use a couple of things. I'm going to use this Tombow adhesive permanent sticky stuff and a glue stick. Okay, now I'm running out of glue sticks because I would normally use just a smaller amount of this Tombow stuff, but for some unknown reason this is the last glue stick I have, so I'm going to use a little more of the tape runner and less glue stick. And I'm just putting several pieces of tape runner down this. And I'm trying to make sure I get close to the center line. I did fold it in half. Helps me line it up in a minute. And maybe that's a little more tape runner than it needs, but I'd rather have it stay in there. This, you know, I do not like things that don't stay together. And now I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm going to put glue stick right along the edge. And this is why I like my catalog. I'm going to turn this, but I'm going to come out a little further so that my page does not get glue on it. And each time I go to glue a different edge, I just slide out a little further. My fingers are sticking to the paper, which, you know, that's the way it goes with glue. Now you can set that off to the side. And I find it easiest to open this up away from me. These are my rounded edges. And this is the glue. And see, I have that fold line in there. So now I can position this by looking at the fold line just like so. And have a plastic card, key card, credit card, something like that always helps. Now you're going to fold it up again, and you're going to want to make sure that your fold is good. So once again, you're probably going to use your bone folder. Okay, now we have to turn this actually into a pocket. This is one section of our little book. So we're going to turn this into a pocket. Now, there are lots of ways to do pockets, but if you use sticky tape, double-sided tape, a lot of times your the things you stick in your pocket will stick to the double-sided tape. So I like to do sort of a double process. If I had realized when I bought this 1/8 inch tape how much I was going to love it, I thought, oh, they're out of 1/4 inch tape. I won't want this. Well, I wish I'd have bought all they had because I really like it. We're going to do a combo process. We're going to use the tape and liquid glue. The liquid glue will dry and it will keep the things that you're putting into your pocket from sticking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this little tiny 1/8 inch tape right along the edge where my pocket is going to have to stick. And I try to get it as close to the edge without going over. We don't want it sticking out, making everything sticky. And this kind of tape always works best if you really burnish it down. And I have found that I like the white paper type tape better than the red plastic type tape, not because it sticks better, but because the little red plasticky stuff does not get everywhere. Then I'm going to take my mono liquid glue and I am going to, let me bring you in real close. Okay, I'm going to run this one little bead right beside but inside the sticky tape. And I do that to both sides. And that's one of the reasons why I really like this glue, because of the tiny little applicator. Now let me take you back out. And then we're just going to fold this up. And we're going to fold our piece in half. And then what I like to do is I like to hold this together for a little bit with some clips. So I'm just going to put the clips right on the edge and set this aside. And like I said, I already had several prepared with the pockets glued together. Okay, so now we have to sort of construct our book. We're going to let that one get dry while we work on these three. Here's a big difference in what I saw and what I'm going to do. The one I saw, she put each of these 2 pages completely together like this. I don't want to do that. I want the ability to tuck stuff in. This is one of the things about a travel journal, is about sticking stuff in it that you collect. The brochures that you see, the places you go. You know, I want tags to put in there where I can write on things. So I'm going to make these pieces, instead of being glued directly together, I'm going to turn them into pockets. So to do that, I'm going to do what we did to our other pocket. I am going to run tape all the way around, and then put glue all the way around. Okay? So, and again, I'm going to try to get this tape as close to the edge. The other thing about using the tape and the glue together in conjunction with one another is that the tape holds it while the glue is drying. So it really helps to hold your project together. And I'm only going to have to put this on one side. Now, that part right there, right out here where the curved line is not going to be taped, but we will glue it together. Because we're going to put the glue on all the way out to the edges. And I do find that it is best to go ahead and get the tape off of here right now, or the cover of the tape, before you start trying to put your glue on, because otherwise you get your fingers in the glue when you're trying to get the tape paper off. Okay, make sure we're still in focus. Okay, and now we're just going to do exactly what we did before and run a tiny little row of glue all around the edge. And I do turn things around a little bit. It just makes it whatever's easiest to get things on there correctly. Okay, now here's something that you need to be careful of. Make sure that this is the top, this is the bottom. When you pick up your next piece, make sure that you don't accidentally put the bottom against the top. Make sure you turn it over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand it up. Now, maybe not. I'm probably going to just put it together like so, and then stand them up. And that way all of my edges line up. Okay. And I want to make sure I push it together. But see, I have this pocket in the middle. Okay. And the tape is helping to hold it while it's being glued. Now, it is easier to put your tape on the one that is flat than the one that's got two in it. So what I'm going to do for a moment is I'm going to just do a couple of little clippies on here, just to help hold everything together. And I'm going to set it aside while I get the next one ready. And I do want to make sure that I'm putting it on the proper side. Okay, so once again, make sure that your top and your top are going to go together. So I'm going to put the tape and the glue on this side, along the folded edge, not along the cut edge, because we don't want we want to make pockets. That's what we're doing. We're making as many pockets as we can in this little travel journal. Like I said, this is probably going to be a maybe three-part, we'll see, video, because otherwise it's going to get way too long. And I hate to do that to you, but I just feel like it would be better than to have it so long that you become exhausted watching it. Besides, we're going to need to let things dry a little bit here and there. As I said, burnishing this tape always seems to make it stick a little bit better. Always check. Okay. Okay, and you see we've already got 3 little spaces together, and we've got 3 pages and pockets. Okay, so now what I am going to do is I am going to get the other one and put it on here, and then I'm going to get out the cover stuff. I'm not going to make you watch me put the third one on. Fourth one on. I'll be right back. Okay, so we put all 4 of our sections together, and now we have our lovely pockets and all of our pieces together. Now this is where the video I watched, she laid a cover over this spine, and this was the book. It was finished like this. I want my cover to actually wrap around it. For one, these are going to be pockets that things are tucked into, and there's going to be a lot of tucking into stuff here. So I want to make my cover where it goes on and wraps all the way around. That means this is going to have to be supported a little, and that's fine with me. This is a little plain. I want to decorate it up a little bit. So what we're going to do now is decorate the cover. And like I said, I do not have this trimmed exactly. I have it just roughly on there. I'm going to set that aside and show you some of the things I've gathered. I have some different scrapbooking papers that sort of have a little, this one is just words, and these are cars. Now these are a little bit juvenile, but that's okay with me as long as I don't overdo them. So what I have done is I have fussy cut out some words and some of the little cars. I even cut out the tiny cars. Where's the tiny cars? There are tiny, tiny cars. Of course, they're on the bottom because I cut them out first. So they're ready for me to put on my cover. Okay. So I have those scrapbook papers. Then I have some tickets that these are just tickets that you can get every day. I have just clipped the corners and inked them a little bit. I also have this travel set of Tim Holtz rubber stamps. And what I have done is I have stamped them out on plain white gift wrap tissue. This is just simple tissue. You stamp on the dull side and have the paper, the shiny side down. You have to use a permanent ink, so it needs to be either the archival ink. I use StazOn most of the time. And I have stamped those out on this tissue paper. Now, if you're interested in learning how to do this, I actually have a video on stamping on tissue paper. And I will put a link to it in the description box. To get these apart, I usually wait until I'm ready to use a piece, simply because that way they don't go all over everywhere. And I use a water-filled pen, and I just take out the pieces like so that I want to use. I'm also probably going to use a little bit of the map that I tore out, the different maps. I'm probably going to tear up a few pieces of that too, just to have it on my cover. So and I'm going to Mod Podge. I use a mixture of Mod Podge and Elmer's Glue All to do this kind of thing, and I'm running low. I'm just going to use this Mod Podge to adhere everything and collage it all and cover the entire sheet of paper, wallpaper, with my Mod Podge. And what I'm going to do is I am going to get busy here and I'm going to work on it, but I'm going to just work on it quietly so that I can speed the video up and you can see it all. That way you don't have to sit through hours of my Mod Podging things. Let's see here. We need to get that tucked up underneath there. There's plastic over here to the right of me, and this is a little bit longer than my mat. So, okay guys, I'm going to work on this. I'll be back in a little bit, but this way I can speed up the video. Well, so apparently my battery died. I do not know exactly when it died or exactly how much of the video of this you've seen. So all I can tell you is that I have some stamped tissue, some pieces of fussy cut scrapbook paper, and some map pieces, and I have been Mod Podging them to my cover. I can't go back and redo it all because I don't have enough pieces to do it all over again. I just looked up there and everything was dark. So what I'm going to do is just finish this out, and hope you'll understand. It didn't even make a noise when it stopped. So I am sorry, everybody. Let me continue with the Mod Podging and okay, now what I'm going to do is, now that it's all decorated, I'm going to cover the entire thing with a layer of Mod Podge. And what I will probably do is come back in and actually put a couple of layers of Mod Podge on it. Okay? This just, it helps it to hold up over time. I know this is going to get some abuse due to the fact that it's, you know, going to get traveled around. It's going to get, you know, used outside at the campgrounds and things like that. So I'm just going to cover the whole thing with Mod Podge, set it aside, and let it dry. And again, guys, I'm sorry for losing the middle. I apologize. And when this gets all dry, I'll be back to finish up our cover and all of that. So Just talk to you later. Okay. I checked the video and I did not lose as much as I was afraid of, so I'm really happy that I didn't lose too much of the collaging. I did, once it dried, put 2 more coats of Mod Podge on it, just thin coats. It's going to wear better over time. And now I want to finish up the cover and put in the closure and things like that. Attach the cover, all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I want this cover. The cover is also going to make another pocket there and a pocket there. But I know that this thing is going to grow, that over time it's going to end up with crocodile mouth, and I want the flap to come across the top of it. So right now it's coming way over, but over time it's not. So the closure is going to have to be sort of expandable. And what I am going to do is I'm going to use some washers and some neodymium magnets, if I said that right. These are tiny little magnets and they're very strong. They're almost hard to get out too. I have 5 of them. I'll probably just use 3. I think 3 across the lip of this is going to be fine. They're really hard to get apart, frankly. Let's put them out of the way for the moment. See? They'll be right back together again. And if they sit against your scissors or anything else, they tend to make everything magnetized. Then these are just little washers, and I'm going to use a bunch of these because, like I said, this has to expand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put rows of these on the inside of the pocket. And I need to kind of know where things are going to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this like so. This is going to sit here like this. And I'm just going to do a little pencil mark. I know that it's going to take a little bit across the back. And this is another pencil mark. The pencil marks aren't going to show. Okay? But it tells me that this is the back, this is the front, this is the flap. And I'm going to glue these little magnets right here along the front. And just so you know where they're at, here's my centering ruler. And this is, I did trim this up, by the way. It's now 9 inches tall. So I'll put one in the middle and one at about 4 on each side, like so. Okay, I'm going to leave a little bit of a flap right there. That way you have something to get your fingers under. So that's where I'm going to glue those. And I am just going to glue them down with some tacky glue. That looks pretty good. Okay, then on the front cover, where I want to have several rows of these so that it can flap over and move out as it goes, I'm going to put several rows of my washers. I'm going to put like so. this will allow it to expand over time. As a matter of fact, I might want to put an extra row in here like so. Okay. And there again, I'm just going to glue those down with some tacky glue. Now, oh, we do need to make sure that they're in the same rough area as our magnets. So again, centered and inside 4 and inside 4. So that. Oops, I slid my paper. I'm going to have to go get some more magnets too, I noticed. Likely, these 3 rows lined up here are going to be used much more than this one. It will be only when the book gets really full that I'll be using that one. Now we can't close this up just yet because it'll just make a mess. Besides the fact that we want to get our book into it, and I want to cover all of this up. So what we're going to do is we are going to put some matte paper on each end of this and just decorate the inside so that that pocket has a lining that these washers and the magnets don't come through. The washers aren't very thick. The magnets are kind of thick, but they'll be all right. First thing we need to do is move this out of the way. And I am going to again use my tape runner and glue stick around the edges. I'm going to get the tape runner as close as I can to the edges. Now, it just so happens that this is a little bit bigger than the book. And that's okay, because if it is a little bit bigger than the book, then I can trim it down. This makes it easier. To get it centered. Now you remember I used my glue book kind of thing so that I can get my glue stick out. Get a nice covering of glue on all of the edges. Oops, fold it up a little bit. Oops. And yes, I'm stuck to it. Okay. what we're going to do is we are just going to center this. This is sort of going to be hidden. It's going to be inside the pocket, so it's not imperative that it is super straight on this one. The other end, we're going to want it to be as straight as possible. And again, we're going to go like so. Now see, it's sticking out a little bit. We'll come back later and cut that off. Right now I'm going to clean up my mat. Okay. Now we're going to do this on the other side as well, but times. I am going to put a little dab of glue on top of each one of these magnets though. We'll just leave it and set it aside. I'm going to prepare my other sheet. Yeah, that works much better. Just go ahead and put the magnets underneath one sheet. Yeah. You want to make sure you get around the edges very well sealed. And I had a little plastic card here somewhere. Oh my. Well, here's another one. Now, we need to trim up around the edges. And I'm just going to take my scissors and do that. We're almost done. I know this has gotten to be quite a long video, and I'm sorry. We will, sorry about that. I can't always work and talk at the same time. It's kind of like chewing gum and walking. I am going to leave the decorating of inside and the making of tags and other things until the next video. We're just going to get the basic book done with a wraparound cover. Of course, our corners need to be rounded. And now we're going to insert our book with additional pockets, and you see the cover wraps around. But we need to make this stay into our book, and we want to have pockets here and here. So to do that, we're going to do just like we did when we put the pages of the book together. We're going to put 3 rows of sticky tape and glue so that the sticky tape does not adhere itself to our tags and things. We're going to start with the front because the front lines up. Also, we've got some thickness back here, so you have to remember that back here is going to be a little bit loose because we need to have it where it wraps around. I'm not going to worry about gluing the cover in this spot. I'm going to glue it to the front, I'm going to glue it to the, stick it to the back, and this spot will be just a little loose. That way it will not wear quite so bad. So we need to get this tape as close to the edge as we can get it. And as close to the fold as we can get it. I went over just a touch right there. We don't want that. We don't want it sticky sticking out. I guess my bone folder has gotten up and left home. There it is. Okay. And remember, burnishing this tape makes it work better. It makes it come apart easier, rather. Now the bottom of our book is already thicker than the top due to the fact that we have the pockets at the bottom. So you don't want any kind of closure or anything that's going to make it difficult to that the mouth is going to be so perfectly closed. Now we're going to put our little line of our mono liquid glue. And again, one of the reasons I really like this glue is the tiny, tiny applicator. It has a large applicator on the opposite end. I almost never open the other side. Okay, now this is our front. And what we want to do is make sure our book is right side up. Make sure we've got hold of the front. And we want to lay our corners down first. So that it all lines up. Okay. And then this back edge. Now you see what I'm talking about? It's going to be open a little bit right there. And that's okay. And then this is going to fold around and latch closed. So, to do that, we need to again tape the top, the bottom, and the folded edge. Just let that fall off the table. sometimes for me to see, I sometimes wonder if I've pulled it out of the camera frame. And again, oops. Well, that tape is not quite on the edge because I let it lift up. So, it's alright. One of the things I have learned is to not worry over little things. I do the nicest job I can, and then I don't worry. Whoops. The other thing with this tape is if you do not get it burnished down real good, it does come off. So you don't want to do that. You want it to stay on. There we go. And our glue. And remember that if you just use the tape, you're asking for things that are inside your pockets to get stuck to the tape. That is why we use the line of glue on the inside. Also, having both adhesives helps to make everything for sure stuck. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just roll this over, and we're standing it up, and then as we roll it down we want to make sure that we line the bottom edge and the top edge. Okay. And then this will close up like so. And we have our travel journal. Now, I am going to put some little clamps on this just to make sure that it adheres real well. I may actually tuck it under some weight in a minute. Rather than putting all these clamps on it, I think I'll tuck it under a box. But that is our travel journal for the time being. In the next video, we will decorate tags and tucks and things to go in it so that we can write on and show some of the other things we're going to put in it. But for today, let's read one of our 1001 Ways to Creativity quotes from our little book, and then I probably ought to find some dinner. It's been a long day. In fact, everything we encounter in this world with our 6 senses is an ink blot test. You see what you are thinking and feeling, seldom what you are looking at. And I cannot pronounce this name. It's Shaquin. Shaquin. I hope you all have a great afternoon. Have fun. Go make some art. Bye-bye.